The church doors burst open with a thunderous crash, and Everly's parents stormed in, their faces twisted in rage. "This is an abomination," her father bellowed, pointing at the altar where Everly stood hand in hand with Harlow, the woman she loved more than life itself. But as the congregation gasped, Everly turned, her voice steady but laced with years of pent-up pain. "Mom, Dad, meet your granddaughter. I'm pregnant and she's ours." Everly's heart pounded like a drum in her chest as she watched her parents freeze, the color draining from their faces. How had it come to this? She thought back to the countless nights she'd lain awake, wrestling with the fear that this day would shatter everything. But there was no turning back now. The truth was out and the fallout would be brutal. Harlow squeezed her hand tighter, a silent anchor in the storm. They'd met 3 years ago in a bustling Seattle coffee shop, where Everly, a rising corporate lawyer, had spilled her latte on Harlow's sketchbook. Harlow, an artist with a free spirit and a laugh that could light up the darkest room, had just smiled and said, "Well, now it's abstract art." From that moment, Everly felt a pull she couldn't ignore, a connection that defied the rigid world she'd been raised in. But love like theirs wasn't easy. Everly's family was old money, conservative Catholics from the suburbs of Chicago, who'd relocated to the West Coast for her father's tech job. They expected her to marry a man, build a traditional life, and carry on the legacy. "You're our only child," her mother had said time and again. "Don't throw it all away." Everly had hidden her feelings for years, dating men to appease them, but inside, she felt like a fraud, her soul screaming for authenticity. When she finally came out at 28, the reaction was swift and devastating. Her father cut her off financially. Her mother wept and prayed for her salvation. They refused to meet Harlow, calling her that influence. Everly moved out, started fresh in Seattle, but the wound festered. She threw herself into work, climbing the ranks at her firm, but every promotion felt hollow without her family's approval. Harlow, on the other hand, came from a more accepting background. Her parents, liberal academics in Portland, had embraced her sexuality early on, but even they worried about the societal backlash. "The world isn't as progressive as it seems," her mother had warned. Harlow's art reflected her struggles, vibrant paintings of women in embrace, shadowed by judgmental eyes. She pushed Everly to confront her family, but Everly resisted, fearing total rejection. Then came the decision that changed everything. They wanted a child. After months of discussions, they chose insemination with an anonymous donor. Everly carried the pregnancy, keeping it secret from her parents. "They don't deserve to know," she told Harlow, but deep down, she yearned for reconciliation. The wedding was supposed to be their fresh start, a small ceremony with friends who'd become family. But someone, Everly suspected her cousin, had tipped off her parents. Now standing there, Everly's mind raced. Was this the right move? Revealing the pregnancy in such a dramatic way felt like a betrayal of her own values, but desperation had driven her. She watched her father's mouth open and close, no words coming out. Her mother clutched her pearls, tears streaming. The priest cleared his throat, but the room hung in suspended animation. Harlow leaned in, whispering, "We can do this. Together." Everly nodded, but inside doubt gnawed at her. What if this pushed them further away? What price would she pay for this moment of truth? As the guests murmured, Everly straightened her spine, ready to face whatever came next. The confrontation escalated quickly. Her father stepped forward, his voice booming. "Pregnant? With what? Some test tube baby? This isn't a family, Everly. This is a mockery." The words stung like acid, reopening old scars. Everly felt a surge of anger, but she held back, remembering the therapist's advice. "Respond, don't react. I love her, Dad. And this child is real blood or not. You can be part of it or not, that's your choice." Her voice cracked slightly, betraying the turmoil inside. How many times had she imagined this scene, pleading for acceptance? But reality was harsher, the rejection more visceral. Her mother sobbed, "We raised you better than this. What will people say?" Everly's heart ached. She knew the fear of judgment all too well. Growing up, she'd seen how her parents navigated social circles, always pristine, always conforming. Coming out had been her first act of rebellion, but this, marrying Harlow, starting a family, was defiance on a grand scale. Harlow interjected, her tone firm but kind. Mrs. Thompson, we're not here to hurt you. We just want to build our life. But Everly's father waved her off. You stay out of this. You're the one who corrupted my daughter. The accusation hung heavy, and Everly felt a protective rage bubble up. Harlow wasn't the villain. Society was, with its narrow definitions of love. As security escorted her parents out, Everly collapsed into a pew, the weight of the moment crushing her. Was this victory or just more pain? She touched her belly, feeling the faint kick of life inside. This child deserved better than fractured grandparents. But cutting ties meant losing her heritage, her roots. The internal conflict tore at her. Loyalty to her past versus fidelity to her future. That night, in their hotel room, Harlow held her as she cried. I thought revealing the baby would soften them, Everly whispered. Harlow stroked her hair. Sometimes love isn't enough to change minds. But we have each other. Yet Everly wondered if that was true. The seed of doubt had been planted. What if her parents' words poisoned their happiness? Days turned to weeks, and the silence from her family was deafening. Everly threw herself into prenatal classes, but her mind wandered to what-ifs. What if she hadn't come out? What if she'd married that nice guy from law school? But those thoughts felt like betrayal to Harlow, who noticed her withdrawal. Talk to me, Ev, she'd say, but Everly brushed it off, burying the pain deeper. One evening, a knock at the door shattered the quiet. It was Everly's mother, alone, eyes red-rimmed. Can we talk? She asked. Everly's heart leaped, hope flickered. But as they sat, her mother confessed. Your father doesn't know I'm here. He's furious, says he'll disown you for good. The words hit like a punch. Was this reconciliation or another layer of manipulation? They talked for hours, Everly pouring out her soul. I didn't choose this, Mom. It's who I am. Her mother listened, tears flowing. But her responses were laced with scripture and pleas to reconsider. Everly felt the chasm widen. Their worlds were incompatible. Yet, a part of her clung to the maternal bond, desperate for approval. As her mother left, promising to think about it, Everly turned to Harlow, who had waited in the bedroom. She might come around, Everly said, but Harlow's eyes were wary. At what cost, love? Don't lose yourself trying to win them back. The warning echoed in Everly's mind, a harbinger of conflicts to come. Everly's pregnancy progressed, but so did the tension. Her mother's secret visits became a lifeline, yet each one chipped away at her resolve. Your father is softening, her mom would say, but Everly sensed the lie. Deep down, she knew reconciliation meant compromise, perhaps hiding their relationship in public or worse, denying it altogether. The thought made her stomach churn. How could she betray Harlow for conditional love? Harlow, sensing the shift, grew distant. You're pulling away, she accused one night over dinner. Everly denied it, but inside guilt gnawed. She loved Harlow fiercely, but the pull of family was primal. What if our child needs grandparents? She'd think, justifying the secrecy. But Harlow saw through it. Family isn't blood if it's toxic, she argued, her voice cracking. The argument escalated, words flying like daggers. You're choosing them over us. Harlow shouted. Everly recoiled, the accusation piercing. Was she? The internal battle raged. Loyalty versus self-preservation. In the end they made up, but a rift had formed, subtle yet insidious. At work, Everly faced another front. Her firm, a bastion of corporate conservatism, whispered about her lifestyle. A promotion loomed, but rumors swirled that her openness might cost her. Keep it professional, her boss advised obliquely. Everly seethed. Why should her love life affect her career? But pragmatism won. She toned down mentions of Harlow, feeling like a coward each time. One day a colleague cornered her. Heard about your wedding drama. Tough break. The pity in his eyes fueled her anger. It's not a break, it's my life, she snapped. But inwardly, she questioned if the fight was worth it. Society's judgment was relentless, from sideways glances at the grocery store to online trolls attacking their social media. Harlow's art sales dipped after a conservative critic labeled her work propaganda. The pressure mounted when Everly's father called unexpectedly. We need to meet. Alone. His tone brooked no argument. Everly agreed, telling Harlow it was about inheritance, a half-truth. At the cafe, her father laid it out. End this farce and everything's yours. The house, the stocks. Otherwise, it's gone. The ultimatum hit like a freight train. Financial security for their child versus her integrity. She drove home in a daze, mind swirling. What would you do? She imagined asking Harlow, but fear silenced her. That night she lay awake, tracing the curve of Harlow's back. Betraying her family meant isolation. Betraying Harlow meant heartbreak. The moral quandary consumed her. Was there a right choice? Harlow stirred, murmuring. What's wrong? Everly lied. Just hormones. But the deception weighed heavy. The next day she confided in a friend, who urged, follow your heart. But which heart? The one beating for Harlow or the one tied to her roots? As weeks passed, Everly's mother pushed harder. Come to church with me. Just once. Everly went, hoping for bridge building. The sermon on traditional family felt like a personal attack. She left early, tears streaming, questioning her faith. Why does love have to be sinful? She thought, the conflict tearing her apart. Harlow noticed the church bulletin on the counter. What's this? She asked, hurt flashing in her eyes. Everly explained, but it sparked another fight. You're letting them brainwash you. Harlow yelled. Everly defended. I'm trying to find common ground. But deep down she feared Harlow was right. The balancing act was fracturing her. In a moment of clarity, Everly decided to confront her father. I won't choose, she told him over the phone. Accept us or lose me. His response was cold. Then you're lost. The click of the line echoed like a death knell. Grief washed over her. For the father she'd idolized, now a stranger. Harlow comforted her, but tension lingered. I need you fully here, Harlow said softly. Everly nodded, but doubt persisted. What if she regretted this? The sacrifice felt immense, her future uncertain. Then came the betrayal. Everly's cousin, jealous of her potential inheritance, leaked private emails to the press. Headlines screamed, heiress chooses lesbian lover over family fortune. The scandal exploded. Clients pulling from her firm, friends distancing. Everly's world crumbled. Was this the price of authenticity? She spiraled, questioning everything. Maybe they're right, she whispered to herself. Harlow overheard, devastation in her eyes. If you believe that, then what are we? The question hung unanswered, as Everly grappled with her crumbling resolve. Therapy sessions helped, but the damage was done. Harlow suggested a break. I can't watch you destroy yourself. Everly begged her to stay, but Harlow packed a bag. I love you, but I need space. The door closed, leaving Everly alone with her thoughts, the silence deafening. Pregnant and heartbroken, Everly faced the mirror. Who am I without them? The reflection offered no answers, only more questions. The moral crossroads loomed. Reclaim her family at Harlow's expense, or forge ahead alone. The choice felt impossible, each path laced with loss. Days blurred into isolation. Everly's work suffered. She took leave, wandering Seattle's streets, mind replaying memories. Childhood Christmases with her parents versus stolen kisses with Harlow. The contrast was stark, the decision agonizing. A call from her mother broke the monotony. Your father's had a heart scare. He wants to see you. Panic surged. Was this manipulation or genuine? Everly debated, the ethical dilemma intensifying. Go and risk reopening wounds or stay away and live with regret. She chose to go, driving through the rain, heart heavy. At the hospital, her father looked frail. I was wrong, he whispered. Hope bloomed, but caution tempered it. About what? She asked. Everything, he said, tears in his eyes. But as they talked, conditions emerged. Just tone it down publicly. The olive branch was poisoned. Everly left conflicted, the encounter stirring more turmoil. Why can't acceptance be unconditional? She pondered. Returning home to an empty apartment, she realized the true cost. Her relationship on the brink. Harlow called that night. I miss you. Everly's relief was palpable. Come back. We'll fight this together. But Harlow hesitated. Only if you're all in. Everly promised, but inside, uncertainty lingered. The path ahead was fraught, sacrifices mounting. Reconciliation with Harlow was tentative, like walking on eggshells. They moved back in together, But conversations were guarded, trust frayed. Everly threw herself into preparing for the baby, nesting as a distraction. This is our family, she'd affirmed to herself, but doubts whispered otherwise. Her father's health improved, but his attitude didn't. Phone calls were laced with subtle digs. When are you bringing a real partner home? Everly bit her tongue, fearing another rupture. The moral tightrope was exhausting. Honor thy parents, but at what expense to her soul? Society's backlash intensified post-scandal. Protests outside her firm demanded her firing, citing moral decay. Everly's boss called her in. We support diversity, but this is bad for business. The veiled threat hung heavy. Quit or conform. She chose to fight, filing a discrimination complaint, but the stress triggered contractions. At the hospital, doctors ordered bed rest. Harlow was there, holding her hand. We're in this, she said, but Everly saw the worry lines. What if I lose my job? How will we provide? The practical fears compounded the emotional ones. Harlow's art wasn't selling, they were scraping by. Sacrifice after sacrifice. Was love worth bankruptcy? In bed, Everly's mind raced. She recalled her coming out dinner, the shattered plates, her mother's wails. You're breaking our hearts, they'd cried. Now she wondered if she was breaking her own. The internal monologue was relentless. Am I selfish for wanting it all? Or brave? A surprise visit from Harlow's parents offered solace. We're proud of you both, they said, bringing meals and support. But it highlighted the disparity. Acceptance versus rejection. Everly envied Harlow's ease, fueling resentment. Why can't mine be like yours? She'd think bitterly. The resentment boiled over one evening. You don't get it. Your family's perfect. Everly snapped. Harlow recoiled. Perfect? They fought for years over my transition from bi to lesbian. The revelation stunned Everly. Harlow had hidden her own pains. We all have battles, Harlow said. The moment fostered empathy but also exposed vulnerabilities. As the due date neared, Everly's mother reached out. I want to be there for the birth. Joy surged but suspicion followed. And Dad? He's coming around. Everly agreed but informed Harlow, who was wary. Don't let them hijack this. The warning resonated. Everly vowed boundaries. Labor came suddenly, pain ripping through her. At the hospital, Harlow coached her, their bond strengthening in crisis. But when her parents arrived, tension spiked. Her father eyed Harlow coldly. Is she necessary? He muttered. Everly's anger flared. She's essential. The standoff was palpable. The room thick with unspoken accusations. The birth was grueling, hours of agony culminating in cries. Their daughter, Mia, entered the world tiny and perfect. Everly held her, tears flowing. She's here, she whispered to Harlow. But as her parents entered, the moment soured. Her mother cooed, but her father hung back. Congratulations, he said stiffly. Postpartum emotions surged. Everly watched her mother hold Mia. A grandmother's love evident. But conditions loomed. Raise her right, her father said later. Meaning what? Everly challenged. In the church with values. The implication clear. No gay agenda. Everly's heart sank. Acceptance was superficial. Harlow confronted her privately. They're using the baby to control you. Everly denied, but doubt crept in. The ethical minefield expanded. Expose Mia to toxic grandparents or deprive her of heritage. The choice tormented her. Weeks later at Mia's baptism, insisted by her parents, tensions erupted. The priest's homily on sinful unions felt targeted. Harlow walked out, Everly following. I can't do this, Harlow said, tears streaming. Everly pleaded, but Harlow's resolve hardened. Choose them or us. The ultimatum mirrored her father's, irony biting. Alone with Mia, Everly rocked her, mind fracturing. What have I done? The sacrifices piled up. Career jeopardy, relationship strain, self-doubt. Was awakening to her truth worth this destruction? She called her therapist, unloading the chaos. You're not wrong for loving, the response came. But validation felt hollow amid the wreckage. Everly decided to cut contact with her parents, a painful severance. For Mia's sake, she told herself. But grief consumed her. Family bonds severed forever. Harlow returned, relieved. We'll build our own traditions. They tried, but scars remained. Social outings were awkward, judgmental stares constant. Everly's promotion was denied. She suspected bias. Fight or flee, she pondered. They chose to relocate to Portland, nearer Harlow's family, a fresh start. But the move brought new challenges. Harlow's career revived, but Everly struggled to find work. Resentment simmered again. You thrive while I suffer, she thought unfairly. Arguments flared, old wounds reopening. One night, after a heated exchange, Everly confessed her deepest fear. What if I'm not enough without my past? Harlow held her. You're more than enough. The vulnerability bridged gaps, but healing was slow. Mia's first birthday approached, a milestone amid turmoil. Everly's parents sent a gift. No note. Throw it away, Harlow urged. But Everly kept it, a tether to what was lost. The internal conflict persisted. Was forgiveness weakness or strength? As they celebrated, laughter mixed with melancholy. Everly watched Harlow play with Mia, love evident. Yet questions lingered. Had her choices been right? The drama of their lives felt endless, each decision a double-edged sword. Portland brought rain and renewal, but shadows followed. Everly landed a job at a progressive firm, but the scandal's echo lingered.
Client hésitait-aide, collègue whispered.
Prove them wrong, she told herself daily, but imposter syndrome gnawed. Was her identity a liability, or her strength? Home life stabilized, but cracks appeared. Mia's tantrums triggered Everly's anxieties. What if she grows up resenting us? She'd worry, projecting her own pains. Harlow reassured, but her patience wore thin. Stop borrowing trouble. The dynamic shifted. Everly became the worrier, Harlow the rock. A chance encounter reignited old flames. At a conference, Everly ran into her ex-boyfriend from law school, now successful and single. You look great, he said, eyes lingering. Flattery stirred forgotten feelings, safety, normalcy. What if? She thought guiltily, the temptation a moral slip. She confided in no one, but the fantasy persisted. A life without judgment, with her parents' approval. But it meant erasing Harlow, denying Mia's origins. The internal war intensified. Fidelity versus escape. She pushed it down, but it festered. Harlow sensed the distance. What's going on? Everly lied again. Work stress. Deception became habit, eroding trust. One evening, Harlow found old photos of Everly with her ex. Explain this. The confrontation was raw. Are you unhappy? Harlow asked, voice breaking. Everly broke down.
I'm scared.
Of losing everything. They talked through the night, vulnerabilities exposed. Harlow shared her own doubts. I wonder if I'm holding you back. The mutual confession fostered closeness, but fragility remained. Society's pressures didn't relent. At Mia's preschool, parents side-eyed them. Two moms? How confusing for the child. One whispered audibly. Everly confronted her. Love isn't confusing, bigotry is. The victory felt pyrrhic, exhaustion setting in. Her parents' absence ached during holidays. Everly's mother called sporadically, but conversations were superficial. How's the baby? Never how's Harlow? The omission stung, a reminder of conditional love. Everly debated inviting them for Mia's second birthday. The decision agonizing. She did, and they came stiff, polite. Her father interacted minimally, but her mother doted on Mia. Harlow endured, but tension simmered. After they left, Harlow exploded. They ignore me like I'm invisible. Everly defended weakly. They're trying. But she knew it wasn't enough. The visit unearthed buried resentments. Everly dreamed of her wedding crash, waking in sweats. Why can't I let go? The psychological toll mounted. Therapy increased to twice weekly. Then, betrayal struck from an unexpected quarter. Harlow's best friend, envious of their bond, spread rumors that Everly was cheating with her ex. The lie spread like wildfire, reaching Everly's firm and Harlow's circles. Trust shattered anew. Is it true? Harlow demanded. Everly denied vehemently, but the seed was planted. Investigation revealed the source. They cut the friend off. But damage lingered. How could she? Everly raged inwardly. The incident highlighted vulnerabilities. Friends as foes in a judgmental world. Harlow withdrew, focusing on art. Her pieces grew darker, reflecting inner turmoil. Everly felt guilty, as if her family drama infected everything. I'm the poison, she thought self-destructively. A turning point came when Mia asked, "Where's Grammy?" pointing to a photo of Everly's mother. The innocence pierced Everly. "Far away, sweetie." But inside resolve hardened. Mia deserved better than half-hearted grandparents. Everly wrote a letter to her parents. "Accept us fully or stay away." The response was silence, then a lawyer's note, disinheritance confirmed. Financial blow aside, emotional freedom dawned. "It's done," she told Harlow, relief mixing with sorrow. They rebuilt slowly, attending pride events, finding community. Support groups helped process traumas. Everly's career rebounded. She specialized in LGBTQ rights, turning pain into purpose. But highs brought lows. Harlow received a grant requiring travel. "Go," Everly encouraged, but separation anxiety gripped her. "What if you don't come back?" The fear was irrational, born of past losses. Harlow promised, but Everly's mind spiraled. During Harlow's absence, Everly leaned on friends, but loneliness amplified doubts. A call from her ex tempted her anew. "Coffee?" he suggested. She declined, but the near miss scared her. "Am I committed?" The self-interrogation was brutal. Harlow returned early, surprising her. "I missed you too much." The reunion was passionate, reaffirming bonds. But Everly confessed the temptation. Harlow forgave. "We're human." The honesty strengthened them, but vigilance was key. As Mia grew, questions arose. Why two mommies? Everly explained simply, but societal pushback loomed. School bullies targeted Mia. Everly fought the administration, winning accommodations. The victory empowered her, awakening a fighter within. Yet exhaustion crept in. Is this endless? She'd wonder. The drama of their lives, confrontations, betrayals, sacrifices, felt cumulative, each building on the last. A family reunion invite from Harlow's side offered respite. Their acceptance flowed freely. Everly envied it, but it inspired hope. We can create this for Mia. The vision sustained her through darker days. Back home, a package arrived from her parents. Inside, old family albums and a note. We miss you. No apology, but a crack in the armor. Everly debated responding, the cycle threatening to restart. Not yet, she decided, prioritizing her nuclear family. The journey taught her. Love demands courage, but also boundaries. As tensions eased, Everly reflected on the costs. Lost inheritance, strained relations, personal growth. Was it worth it? The answer evolved daily. Years passed. Mia thriving into a spirited 5-year-old. Everly and Harlow's relationship deepened. Weathered by storms but resilient. They co-parented seamlessly, but echoes of past conflicts surfaced occasionally. A news article on family estrangement triggered Everly. That's us, she said sadly. Harlow hugged her. No, we've built better. Professionally, Everly soared, leading landmark cases for queer rights. Her story inspired others, but anonymity protected Mia. Legacy through action, she mused. The shift from personal pain to societal change fulfilling. Harlow's art gained acclaim, exhibitions drawing crowds. One piece, Fractured Bonds, depicted their journey abstractly. Critics praised its emotional depth. Everly saw their scars immortalized. Beautiful, she whispered at the opening, pride swelling. But family shadows persisted. Everly's mother called more, hinting at regret. Your father watches Mia's videos you send. Everly sent neutral updates, guarding her heart. The moral dance continued. Forgive or protect? A health scare for her father forced confrontation. Hospital-bound, he requested a visit. Everly went with Mia. Harlow staying behind. Be careful, Harlow warned. At bedside, her father wept. I was wrong. Fear blinded me. The apology, long awaited, unlocked floods. Everly forgave tentatively. It hurt us all. Reunion was gradual. Dinners, awkward at first, softened. Her father engaged with Harlow, asking about her art. Progress, but Everly remained vigilant. No backsliding, she thought. Mia bonded with grandparents, joy bittersweet. Society evolved too, laws protected families like theirs. But backlash remained, online hate, political threats. Everly advocated tirelessly, sacrificing time with Mia. For her future, she justified, but guilt lingered. Harlow faced her own trial. A commission from a conservative gallery. Accept and compromise integrity? She declined, losing income. Principles over profit, she said. Everly admired her, but worried about stability. The beat of sacrifices continued. Mia's school project on family trees sparked questions. Why was Grammy mad? Everly explained age-appropriately. People learn and change. But inside, she questioned if change was genuine or circumstantial. A betrayal resurfaced when her cousin apologized. Admitting jealousy drove the leak. Everly confronted. You nearly destroyed us. Forgiveness came hard, but she granted it for closure. Holding grudges poisons me, she realized. As anniversaries marked milestones, Everly reflected on the path. The wedding crash, the ultimatum, the separations all forged her. Pain birthed strength, she'd think. Harlow agreed, their love tested and true. Yet, doubts occasionally surfaced. At a pride parade surrounded by celebration, Everly wondered, was there an easier way? The internal dialogue persisted, a remnant of trauma. Mia's innocence grounded them. I love my two mommies, she declared one day. Tears pricked Everly's eyes, validation from the purest source. Family integration peaked at a holiday gathering. Her parents hosted, including Harlow warmly. Laughter filled the air, but Everly watched for cracks. None appeared. Perhaps true awakening had occurred. But reality intruded. A political shift threatened rights. Everly mobilized, exhaustion mounting. Why fight forever? The question echoed, but resolve held. In quiet moments, Everly pondered the bigger picture. Society's evolution was slow, personal costs high. Had her choices sparked change or merely survived it? As the story of their lives unfolded, filled with drama, decisions, and damages, one truth emerged. Love demanded everything, giving back in unexpected ways. But at what point does the price become too steep? Was it right to prioritize personal authenticity over familial harmony, even if it meant years of pain and potential regret?